Content warning: the following article contains spoilers for the FX show, What We Do in the Shadows. The ongoing fourth season of FX What We Do in the Shadows depicts even more of the vampire's wacky antics, especially the ancient warrior, Nandor the Relentless. His stressful search for his perfect partner highlights Nandor's unique brand of humor, which has inspired countless memes in the fandom. From his unforgettable catchphrase to his heartbreaking moment in the train station, some of the most hilarious memes perfectly capture Nandor as a character. These images reflect the vampire's personality or feature some of the important events that have significantly influenced his story arc. F. King Guy Nandor's catchphrase is still one of the funniest quotes in WWDITS. Every time the vampire feels offended by someone else's behavior, he's quick to say F. King Guy in a gut-busting way. This is exactly what happens after he thinks he has rescued Laszlo, who flies away without thanking him and Colin Robinson. The fan-made picture works as a great reaction meme for any frustrating situation, as Nandor's memorable catchphrase can be applied to real-life circumstances as well. He'll likely find himself using it more often too, as Guillermo's more badass side continues to get under his skin. Trading for creepy paper after the vampires learn about the Baron's arrival, Nandor is tasked with decorating the attic, where his coffin will be opened. Nandor makes a hilarious mistake while shopping for supplies with Guillermo, as the character thinks that crepe paper is macabre because he reads it as creepy paper. It has become an iconic scene that's referenced repeatedly in the fandom, which is why it's not surprising that there are several memes that capture the moment. A humorous image shows Nandor offering to trade an ancient coin for creepy paper, which underscores how out of touch the vampire is with reality. Recent episodes highlight his belief that coins from his old country still hold a high value, as he manipulates his revived wives by having the djinn offer them a special gold coin. The duality of Nandor likes to think of himself as a strong and fearless warrior, which does somewhat match his appearance and clothing. However, it's obvious that the vampire is not exactly the badass he believes he is. In fact, he's more kind-hearted and sensitive than he lets on. This endearing character trait inspires a fan to create a meme showing the stark difference between the way Nandor looks and his actual personality. He's a sweetheart who is often afraid to admit just how much he cares about Guillermo and their other housemates. Pillage everyone. It may have been hundreds of years ago since Nandor was considered a leader of a country and a great warrior, but he hasn't let go of that image. It's a subject he enjoys talking about, with his time spent in his country clearly being the highlight of his existence in his mind. During an interview with the crew, Nandor reveals that one of his favorite activities back then was to pillage villages. A gut-busting meme shows the moment Nandor recounts how people used to ask him not to pillage them, but he insists on pillaging everyone, them included. It underscores Nandor's tendency to make a big deal of his exploits. He treads onwards. Nandor's relationship with his familiar Guillermo has changed over the seasons, with the vampire recognizing how important he really is to him. A violent argument with Guillermo leads to a moving moment where Nandor finally promises to turn him into a vampire if the familiar accompanies him on a trip back to his country. The meme shows the sad moment Nandor departs without Guillermo, who is stuck in a crate going to London. It's just like the vampire to leave his familiar behind without checking if he's okay, and the latest season reveals how it's Nandor who feels offended by the whole situation. Not all okay. His mood changes may not be as drastic as Naj's, but Nandor can shift from happy to angry really fast depending on the situation. This is seen in the way he gets excited about bringing back his 37 dead wives, but then gets frustrated by how none of them are meeting his unreasonable standards. Nandor's comedic line about how everything will be okay can quickly turn into a frustrated remark about some F. King Guy. The hilarious meme that shows this rapid change reflects how sensitive the vampire can be, which is one of his more relatable characteristics. The superb owl. When the vampire's friendly neighbor Sean invites them over for a Super Bowl party, they think that they're about to witness a superb owl. Nandor, in particular, is excited about the event, which means he ignores all of Guillermo's corrections about the party. The meme captures the moment Nandor acts like a know-it-all and points to a magazine with a photo of the owl's egg. It's just one of several moments in the series that highlight the vampire's lack of common knowledge, which often results in hilarious scenarios. Abandoning issues. A critical part of Nandor's character arc happens when Guillermo is unable to make it to the train station in time for their trip. Their brief confrontation about it in the latest season shows how bad Nandor felt while waiting for his familiar turned bodyguard, as he already considered him a friend at that point. A simple but funny meme reflects the abandonment issues Nandor likely faced after that moment. Only time will tell how Nandor and Guillermo will deal with the unfulfilled promise that likely hangs over the familiar's head. It's a disappointing development in Nandor's storyline that will hopefully not be abandoned like he was. He's a wizard. An iconic scene every fan will recognize happens during the Baron's night out after the vampires foolishly but humorously start drinking intoxicated humans. Some of them happen to have drugs in their system, which soon affect the gang's actions. Nandor is hit pretty hard by whatever drug his victim had, and the vampire is soon wearing a traffic cone on his head and declaring that he's a wizard. The delivery, timing, and absurdity of the scene is flawless and still remains one of the funniest moments from the series. Nandor leaves one of the numerous memes that reference the train scene, uses the GRU format to recount the upsetting moment. After more than a decade of serving as his familiar, Nandor finally agrees to make Guillermo's dream come true by turning him into a vampire as long as he holds up his end of the bargain. When Laszlo kidnaps Guillermo and locks him in a crate bound for London, Nandor still leaves without him. In hindsight, it's a completely bizarre decision on the vampire's part, who doesn't even bother to check what happened to his companion. He could have just rescheduled to the next day. The stressful situation captured in the funny meme reflects Nandor's egoistic personality, which is not unique to the vampire. Whether there will be another opportunity for Guillermo is still an unresolved question, but given Nandor's recent actions, it's highly unlikely that they'll let go of the cruel but hilarious running gag.